Me, I make the same videos always, and this because I see different personality, and for me, it's just like putting that in their face because they're supposed to create a facade, but it's that facade is beyond destroyed to the point where they get frustrated. They get frustrated, and now they're just craving for my torture. Because you see these people being thankful. Look at this woman, right? She refused to be there when I'm talking. Now I understand because I will not be the type of person who let her live her fantasy. She was looking at her, and she was looking at me angry because the thing is, they want to be involved in this program, deluding themselves that they're somehow not in a program that torture children, and even in the program that push people to cause mass shooting because the opportunity is so good. For me, I was like, oh, thank you. Please have that face there, target individual. If you ever being put in this target in this program and become a test subject, understand there'll be people like her. Very cowardly. She doesn't want to interact with me because she knows that first of all, you interact with me, the lower reality is going to be escaped. It's going to go away. But she was excited because she knows that I'm going to go through some horrible things. But it's okay. I'd rather go into horrible things. But you know who else is going through that? And you know who's running this show, right? They love to thank these people as if these people just saved and they protected the community. Yeah, really? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing what I'm going to do to this woman. In regard of how I'm going to show the reality of what she's part of. You see kids below there, right? When I was a child around that age, I did some dumb thing to myself. These people who are parents hold on to it as if it's like, oh my gosh, this is, that's abuse. I'm like, really? That is abuse. But what you're going to hear about children, they have this very strong ability to block out what they do to children. No, man. You know what this really about? You know who's abusing children? This is freaking a child doing some damn thing. And you know that very well. I don't need to say anything. You probably even have kids. And you know what kids are capable, especially at that age. But you know what you're involved in, right? This thing in my mind, I should look at her, she's a mother, she's mad. It's like, really? Somehow you're not mad when you hear torture of children, right? No, you know exactly what you're in. These perps know exactly what they're part of. What they try to do is to delude themselves and escape from reality. Now, she knows I'm going to go through some horrible things. So for her, this is a peace of mind. I'm like, please have your peace of mind. I'm telling you, it's not good for you. Because you've given me a sense of dignity. Because I can look at this like, this is fucking horrible. You guys are involved in a program that do these things to babies, and you talk about a fucking middle school doing some damn thing like that, which you damn well know kids are capable of doing that, but you know that very well. What doesn't happen is to hear people being sexually torturing children. I gotta say this. Thank you, God, that I'm not in the shoes of this person. She's not gonna be tortured like I'm gonna be tortured. Her death is gonna come the way it needs to come, right? She's just a participant. She wants to enjoy this moment. But I'm just so thankful that I can make sure she enjoys it properly. For me, it's been disgusting when I look at women and they play this like, oh, because I'm a mother, or because you're a mother involved in a program where you know damn well they torture children. Matter of fact, they're excited that a child here, some children, this woman will never have her children do what these children here are doing. For sure, I can guarantee you, I can reassure you, they thank these kids here because they say they're going to use these kids to frame me. This woman will not even dare to have her children messed up like that. Never. But she is so thankful to them for throwing your kids away in this situation. Because she knows, oh man, no, I will never have that. My baby will never do this. But I thank you because I want to live this deluded reality. I want to live this fantasy. Oh, you're so brave. Thank you so much. It's over. Yeah, it's so done. It's like, it's been over. It's funny. I'm looking at the people who put me in this program. They can destroy, they can devour these people here. It's so funny how these people who now employ me want to create this deluded reality where somehow they're the one who put me in this program. You know who put me in this program. They are so on another level of influence. They would be. You even scared to say this man's name, Roy. This alleged pedophile that was picking up kids. You see that picture over there? They're making fun of him. This woman would be scared to say his name. But me as a child, as a kid over there, oh my gosh, you're so mad. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. You wanted to use that as a way to kind of gas you up, as in the program where you know they do these horrible things. And today when they do this pedophilia type of torture, oh no, we're mapping, yeah. Okay, there's so many pedophiles in these agencies. Why is that? It's so weird, huh? For so many mappers, with all this technology you have. Yes. On top of that, can bring that in their face. But I know that kind of people. I already seen her. I already see her for what she is. I already see her for what she is. It didn't take me much. I'm like, I know. What she's doing right now. First of all, she was making herself angry. Right? It's the way they kind of like hype themselves. Oh, I'm so mad what you did as a kid. That was abuse. Really? While I'm listening to a child grabbing their genitals because they're being sexually tortured with using this technology. Oh, no, you're blocking that out, right? You're finding a way to stop yourself from thinking about it. But the anger that you have of me as a kid doing whatever I did to myself as a freaking middle schooler, that is the anger that is just like, oh my gosh, the avengement that needs to be done while this baby is being tortured. In some cases, sexual. Nothing there, huh? How convenient, huh? What happened to your mother protective feelings? Got really quiet. Target individual, do not let these people create this facade and paint this bullshit reality. It's comical. They know that what they're doing to you, they rewiring your brain. They know that very well. They enjoy this technology. This woman is probably looking at what's happening to my organs and being excited. She could be fucking dying in front of you. She doesn't even know. But she's so excited about your death. There's no point for you to get angry. But for me, what I do with these videos is because these people watch me. They watch me. And for me, it's more important for those people who think that the facade they have can block the reality. No, ma'am, I see you for exactly what you are. I know why it's over, and trust me, you have nothing to do with that. I see. If you want to see who killed me, go check the top donors of the 2022 election or the 2024 election. You'll see them somewhere there. Your storylines and your fantasy, how you put things together, is just delusional. You're thankful to this. They are so thankful to these losers. It's so sad. But I'm okay. I'm with them. It's like, yeah, thank them. But I know why you're thanking them. Let me say that out loud, the things that you don't want to say. Those kids here are going to be used to frame me. Ask her if she will ever do that to her children. I know the answer. Absolutely not. But you? Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys are heroes. I'm sorry if I have emotion when I speak. But I'm able to say this out loud and I can look at them for the clown that these people are. And this person, the frustration, she was looking at it like angry. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't make me get on camera because me, I know I have real anger. Target individual, this woman is involved in what you're going to hear. Let me just bring that up. One, you're going to hear the sexual torture of children. Mean ways of torturing children, suffocating them. She has the ability to block it out. For some reason, she's like, oh, I'm not listening. It's like, no, you're listening and you know exactly what. But you wanted to do these things to me, thinking that I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, these people, they're so mad at, oh my gosh, what I did as a child. You think I can ever even do that? Do you think I'm going to be like, hey, let me just now think about how this program is able to do this horrible thing to children? These horrible things, but think about a fucking middle schooler whose brain is developing, which is, and the embarrassing part is the reason why they hate this more is because there's this article that came up on, I think it was the Washington Post, I believe it's the Washington Post, talk about how kids around that age because of the developing brain, they can do these kind of things, right? So that even annoys them. It's like reality annoys them. It's like whatever is real is like an annoyance. Oh my God, no, that's abuse. No, that's a child doing an inappropriate thing. You know what's abuse? Is when you're sexually harming kids using this technology that can burn kids' genitals. And the way you manipulate my brain and then say what we're doing is like we mapped your brain to you as a child. I was like, what? Let me imagine. Look at this grown ass woman over here. It's like, hey, we're making your brain your brain when you were eighth grade. By the way, the entities that do that, yeah, yeah, ranked pretty high, top tier for child porn trafficking. You're gonna hear that. I don't need to speak about it. But look at her, and let me just say this: there's been a facade and a psyop of some sort. Target individual, do not go with the perception, the way they make you perceive themselves. It's a purpose. It's all about this trickery and facade. I'll call it out bluntly. Listen, I'm not racist. This program is not racist in the sense that you torture black, white, every race. Matter of fact, the perps come in every race. I have family members involved in my targeting. They are the same color as me. But there is a thing that they think that works. Well, they present themselves, and it's not really just the race specifically. It's more like position in life and gender. These two usually are the most commonly used tactics. Race sometimes can be a little bit of a factor. So look at me. I'm a professional woman. I look like I'm a very sensible person, perhaps more on the liberal side. Perhaps a little bit there, but if not that, I'm some like sensible woman, and I'm angry. I'm a mother. I'm a mother, and I'm mad. This is the perception they want me to see when I look at her. Really. So you as a mother, when you hear a mother saying, "My young child and I are being used as test subject," it doesn't do anything to you. No emotion there, huh? It's zero. You don't feel sad. Sorry, you don't even feel sad. You don't feel like what you're part of that does this. It's something off about it. No. The anger you get is the anger of seeing what a child did as a child. And this an appropriate thing that, matter of fact, you have to even exaggerate. But hearing the testimonial of a woman dying off, losing the ability to even function, and her young child are being tortured, nothing, huh? No. Target individual, these perps they play this game. I'm not as vulnerable looking as some target individual. They're gonna try to vilify you in every fashion. If you, a woman, defense woman, can be vilified, they vilify anybody. Then try to paint themselves as this. Never. It's like they've tried to normalize what they're part of, as if this is a norm. It's normal to be torturing people. Oh, it's so sad, poor mother and her young child. Okay, whatever. But when you're a kid, that's abuse, trash ass. Can you imagine have the ability to switch off this thing? That's why I'm so thankful. They have made me feel so fucking smart. And you hear this purpose like, you're gonna lose. Yes, of course I'm gonna lose. This is governmental entities doing that to us. And do you know how they try to feel better? You're gonna be tortured so bad. I was like, yes. Matter of fact, I'm doing things that's gonna make me being tortured even more. You know why? Because I'm putting things in your face that you hate. And they get tired of it. Oh, you're gonna lose. Yes, of course. You can't even say Roy Moore. You know how much I'm gonna lose? And you watched it. You watched me die. Oh, wow. You see how much of a winner you guys are? You see? You're avenging women. Trash ass. For any perps involved in this targeting video, see them for the trash they are. For me, when she looked at me like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know you're listening to what's happening. We're going to listen to what these people block out. Start off with the torture of children. Of course, we start with that. Because we're talking about abuse. Let's talk about abuse. And let's talk about what kind of abuse. This woman who's going to kind of introduce you what kind of abuse they do to children. Yes, harming the private part of children. Yes, we talk about that kind of abuse. And the reason why I put the picture over there of children, right, in middle school, is just to put things in contrast. Just for me to understand, like, this person acting this way, and she's mad, right? She's mad because she wants this thing to not happen. Where I can pull up a testimony of how horrible they are to children. with that being said, she's also happy that, oh, you know what, for making me look like this, you're gonna be tortured. No, I'd rather be tortured in every ways. And on top of that, on top of this torture of children, you're gonna hear the sexual, the suffocation, the psychological, the traumatization of children. That's what you're involved in. For me, if this woman was trying to play this game in front of me, it would not be easy. I don't want to disrespect somebody who's a little bit older than me, a woman. But when we talk about the safety of children, the true safety of children, not this nastiness that they force you to experience. When we talk about the harmness of children, the true harmness of children, we don't talk about a freaking middle school doing dumb things to himself. But we are talking about something else. And then try to use you as a mother, as the facade, like, look at me, I'm a mother, I'm great to my kids. So it's different. No fucking way. It's worse, actually. It's worse that you, a mother, have kids. Saw your kids grow. Cannot even picture yourself imagining your children and you being tortured in these ways. Hear the testimony of these children and block that out. Never. You worse than that. So for me, if these people were trying to act this way in front of me, it's not even trying to threat them. It's just say, oh, it would. I'm telling you, it would not be the way you think. I will look at you, listen to the testimony. It's like, this is a mother, grown-ass woman, who can think clearly, definitely smart as me, if not more, even smarter than me, and cannot, and is blocking out the fact that she's involved in something that does this. In the way they try to block, it's like, oh, you're just my first. Your first what? Yeah, I mean, your first what? You're nothing. This is happening to me because I'm putting this program where the government is doing that to me. You mean your first time participating in a program where they use test subjects in this fashion? Exactly. They are, this Perps, they use these chatterbox people, right? All right, they try to agitate you. They basically children. And if they also make themselves even more children. If they're not, they sound like children, they act like children, and they interact with you in this childlike way. And sometimes they try to agitate you. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm telling you, if you think this is, these people are so pathetic. But that's their job. They're supposed to disorient me. And for me, I understand me speaking is not a good thing. For me, for my health. But my health is already going away. But I know me speaking doesn't help them go into this escapism. Because a woman like that will be involved in a program that does these horrible things to children. And things, especially, and I gotta say, she's supposed to be looking, oh, I'm a mother, so now you're... Listen to what they do to kids. Listen to the horrible things. Listen to the horrible things they do to kids. They talk about how I'm going to be raped and tortured. Listen to what they do to kids. Imagine being involved in something that does these things to kids. What you deserve to go through, especially if you're a mother. But it's not for me. Like I said, everything has its time. It comes one way or another. I'm so glad I was able to be their prophet. In some cases, a little too much on, a little scary kind of. This is a woman who just jumped in. She's just participating now. I'm just seeing her enough, But she thought she can come in. She didn't understand. It's like, oh my gosh, you don't understand how validated I am. What you guys do to people. And thank these people for selling their kids. I'll thank them with you. Thank you, guys. You just destroyed your kid's life for whatever financial or incentive you're getting out of it. She will never do that. You know that. But you're the hero. It's like what you say to kids, you want to just kind of... Oh, you're such a hero. He's such a hero. And they're like, oh, he'll wait. Okay, he'll wait. He'll torture me. He'll rape me, torture. And then what happened to your child? Don't think about it. Don't worry. You'll see. TBD. Trash ass. Target individuals stay strong. I rather struggle in hell than flourish doing what these people do. I rather be in pain than feeling good doing what they were eating. I'm like, oh my gosh, eat. Cowards, low life, torturing babies. Torture. Let me say, when I say torturing baby, I'm not exaggerating. 3-week-old baby will be tortured. You're gonna hear that. This woman here, she knows that very well. I'm here to help her. Make sure that she knows that I know what she knows. That make sure that she knows, that I know, that she knows exactly who else is tortured. That me dying in hell is better than living in your heaven, where you try to counter this. And you use this childlike retard living in a fantasy of a life. I die in hell. You came and say fucking roll your more, you fucking clown. To my target individuals, stay strong, but never identify with this manipulation. Never identify with this facade. See them for what they are. Understand there's plenty of us dying off. Some of us children in this program. And this trash knows they caused mass shooting that have killed children. They have that on their blood. They have that associated to them for the rest of their life. There is no escapism. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're a white woman. I don't care if you're a professional woman. I don't care if you're a black woman. I don't care if you're a professional black woman. I don't care if you're a professional white woman. I don't care if you're an executive. I don't care if you're a man. I don't care if you're a black man. I don't care if you're... I don't care whatever facade you put yourself in this program, participate in this. I see you exactly for what you are. I will never let these people live their fantasy. Please listen to this.
The abuse last night was pretty extreme. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. I don't really know what to do to get some kind of pain medicine, because what actually happens to me, what is happening to me is my actual physical body is being burned. And so it causes me to go into shock.
And I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. One session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience...
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores.
And have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Three of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner's syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured. Recently, I lost complete time. I exhibited the flashing lights. My 9-year-old son Dylan complained about the lights. You will often hear that vision is something that is greatly affected with this type of torture.
Pictures. These crimes is happening in America. This is a domestic problem, not only international. The victims is not being just victimized individually. We are being victimized and our family members as well. Gang stalking tactics and harassment was utilized.
2K. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all the stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government.
But I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, you're going to be shot in the face. Sound like an angry ass old person. Then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. Stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the voices go, it's a bunch of females. And I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them? Basically, they call me retarded.
You're rewiring their thought processes and brains, and so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare, and so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control?
Designed to interact with the human nervous system. In order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
My name is Dr. John Hall. I'm a medical doctor from Texas. As I understand the memorandum from the president, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned, Willowbrook, MK Ultra, radiation experiments, mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons, microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control. I've submitted a paper to you, and there's another paper submitted to each member from another physician in Kansas City, alluding to the same thing.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to...
So, can you imagine this level of validation, and you hear the tortures of children, and you have this trash, sorry, I shouldn't call it, this individual who's a perp, and yes, she does trashy things, for being involved in this program, and try to be like, oh, it's abuse. Talk about kids, the age of the kids you see there, and having to exaggerate what they did to create this exaggerated version of a child doing some dumb thing impulsively to himself, while trying to counter the fact that they torture children. Now, you also heard at the end here how DARPA has been working on technology to alter the mind. One thing of the things they do is this nasty manipulation that's so disgusting. You've heard what I call it. Matter of fact, they were bringing up, which I'll make a video later on these kids, these babies that they early on this morning, they make me have this perception and stimulations, the typical things they do, which of course for me, I don't identify with this. So to make sure that they know that, I'll put that in their faces. I hear this is what they make me experience this ways in with this technology that can alter your mind, to your thought process. This is what they're doing, and these tactics have been done to others. Nothing is unique to me. Nothing. That's why when I do these things, right, it's just so hard to just ignore the reality, because these people are supposed to be strategics, and you are not going through this thing alone. Others are going through the same things, even the psychological torture. But you know they do that to even children. So you have people like that, they're supposed to look in a certain ways, like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad. Look at you. You see next to her, you see the testimony of some of those women and her young child being tormented and tortured in certain ways. Kids as young as 4 years old, 5 years old, 4 years old with Down syndrome. But the fact is funny when they say 4, remember 4? You torture 4-year-old kids with Down syndrome sexually. That's the things they try to counter. Children, babies. You heard an actual 3-week-old baby tortured in different ways where the skin got started rashing. They do these horrible things to people. And babies too. Infants, 3-week-old. Can you imagine trying to be like, oh my gosh, oh, you pay, and you're involved in that? And then when you they manipulate your brain, because this technology does that, manipulate your brain is being altered via this technology. So you are experiencing things that you will not experience naturally. You will not organically have those kind of experiences. You will not. It is an experience manipulated into you. And in the way they try to validate themselves now, but when you were a kid at that age, like, I'm a grown adult. You are a grown adult. Imagine I make you think, I make you experience whatever I can via a technology that can manipulate your thoughts, and then say no, because when you're in middle school, you look at me like I'm a clown. And this is how I look at these people. Why would you have some brain reaction now of something that you claim that I experienced as a child today as an adult? It's obviously not that. It's what you make me experience. That is something that you've made other experiences to break them down, these tactics. But manipulation, not, there's a reality of what they do. And there's also a reality of who's doing that. You heard DARPA talking about it. This is obviously Department of Defense technology. The psyop of like, oh, we're just fierce fan. But like, are you serious? Like, it's just beyond over. Like, don't try to even play this game. Of course, I don't. I know it's not some feminist good government program that just like got together and just wanted to have, like, what kind of comicalness is that? How can you even stand on this retardation of a logic? You're a grown woman. Like, I'm supposed to think that a bunch of strong women got together. It has nothing to do with this governmental entity that's been working on technology that they've been developing for decades and decades and decades, even perhaps even before these people were even born. In the 60s, trying to alter the mind of it, and all of a sudden now, and this is just, it is comical in ways that's just disgusting. Like, when people know these things, how can they even? And you hear that they have this psyop trying to make you believe this is anything but this massive government. And you still want me to somehow think that you guys are... It's so disgusting. I don't know. But, they don't mind making themselves stupid or look stupid, even though they're obviously not that stupid. I mean, there's some childlike people here who are very much on the spectrum. I see them being really on the spectrum. But somebody like that will never. I know she's just playing herself, just making herself dumb when it's in a conveniently way. In a very, very conveniently way. That things are just conveniently working out this way. I cannot let them live their fantasy. I can't. But that's the reality of things, okay? What's happening here is they know what they're part of. The incentives are amazing. I mean, this woman looked like she was doing things on a computer. Who knows if there's things done to my to my mind, and this technology is extremely sophisticated. You know how you will rewire yourself in any ways possible to try to enjoy what you're part of, because you don't want to admit that this thing, we do this horrible things to even children, but we can be God. But who gives these people this empowerment? These DoD entities. The Department of Defense is running this program. This technology is obviously coming from the Department of Defense. This Perps in all shape or form. This woman looks obviously much more mature and obviously somebody who's established in some ways. I have people here, these Perps, they are like children. They're like oh my gosh. And I love, they're the one loving to call themselves gods on top of everybody. I'm like, yeah, you call yourself gods every day, please. It gets so bad with this chatterbox individual, right? Where they just want to say things to just annoy you. It's like, oh, you're gonna die first. I was like, oh wow, you won. But this is the kind of people they need, and at least this kind of conversation they try to have with you to kind of disorient you. Now, reality in this person, and I love when they say it's not fair, it's actually very fair, because we know there's been issues with the DoD. As they manipulate your brain in this disgusting way, it's like, no, we mapped your brain to this and this. The reality and the embarrassment that these entities are so pedophilia-centric. This bill, like I keep bringing up, called End National Defense Network Abuse Act, was passed or created at least for the purpose of limiting the amount of child porn being downloaded and share and access. And as I'm saying, oh yeah, it passed though. But listen what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to limit the amount of child porn being downloaded. Let me just repeat, being downloaded using what? The computers provided by the DoD and the network provided by the DoD. So these employees at the DoD were downloading so much child porn. That it's so crazy how they try to block that a bill was needed, at least to make it look like they're trying to do something, because they were downloading so much child porn that the Child Protective Service, you're going to hear them, notice and recognize the DoD network as a top-tier child porn trafficking network. They were looking at all the network in the United States. The network coming from DoD was one of the top tier in regard to child porn trafficking. Employees of the DoD from the Pentagon and other employees of the DoD were using the computers provided to them by the DoD to download so much child porn. Matter of fact, right now, when I say the ranking, they try to counter it. The reality is countering reality. And this thing comes back again in 2022, 2021. There's like an article brings up the fact that there's a lot of pedophilia issues in the CIA and other entities in the agencies and intelligence community and the DoD. It's so nasty. And she has to be out here saying, oh, it's not fair. It's fair, because you are actually participating in a program led by governmental entities with these issues, while you manipulate my brain this ways and try to make me acceptive of it by saying we mapped your brain to you as a child, and this is why you experienced that. Well, there's so much child porn being downloaded by employees working at the DoD that there's a bill created to try to make it look like they're limiting that. Listen to this.
Child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services. The Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of Internet service providers for trafficking child pornography.
Under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material. Called Project Flicker, some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after
civil or military or otherwise, already submit to a gauntlet of daily scrutiny just going in and out of work. Is it fair then to the tens of thousands who are completely innocent to further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers?
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step into an office, whether it's a Department of Defense office or it's the offices...
It's so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. There
are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance. Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
sensitive secrets, potentially making this... The Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them, at high levels across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
So on top of that, you have this that shows another weird trend, disgusting trend. How much more? But she's like, I'm not paid. Can you understand this level of blocking our reality? I'm supposed to look at her as like, oh my gosh, you know what? You're obviously protecting children and women. It's crazy. And it doesn't get to just add another extraness that's even perhaps even more disturbing. This manipulation, the target individual, unfortunately, have lost their mind, and to the point of because they push us into this aggression, some target individual ended up causing mass shootings, large mass shooting, very large. Here are some mass shootings that just coming from target individual. Listen to this.
About his time spent here in New Mexico.
As sick as this may sound, I've even had stalkers follow me into church while I was in Las Cruces and in Houston. I've had stalkers follow me into church to harass me.
May had worked as a prosecutor in Las Cruces just weeks before the shooting. In his last words, May speaks of his paranoia and coins himself as a targeted individual who's been a victim of stalking and harassment. He talked about a trip to Houston where he said cars would drive by and honk their horns every 10 minutes to keep him on the edge and agitated.
Father, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Forgive me for all of my sins, past sins, present sins, any future sins.
Why? Was a mentally unstable individual. This shotgun is the primary murder weapon. On it, he etched a number of carvings, including "End to the Torment," "Better Off This Way," and "My ELF Weapon." Alexis had been hearing voices and believed he was being bombarded by microwaves, something naval authorities knew about.
There are multiple indicators that Alexis held a delusional belief that he was being controlled or influenced by extremely low frequency, or ELF, electromagnetic waves.
And in his computer files, the FBI found this.
A document retrieved from the electronic media stated, quote, "Ultra-low frequency attack is what I've been subject to for the last 3 months. And to be perfectly honest, That is what has driven me to this.
And so on what should have been a routine day, Alexis killed 12 people. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters.
Diane, they never had a chance, and still no answers as to why so many red flags were missed.
As you say, so many red flags.
In May last week, from New York Times, I'm Michael Barbaro. This is The Daily. Today, the mass shooting that occurred in May last week, killing 18 people, was the country's deadliest of the year. It may also have been one of the most avoidable.
Wounded. The first 911 call coming in around 7 p.m. from a local bowling alley that was hosting a youth night for a kids' bowling league.
We have an active shooter. We have multiple injuries.
Authorities releasing these surveillance images showing the suspect they're looking for. His name is Robert Card, and he's pictured armed with an AR-15 style rifle.
Mr. Card is considered armed and dangerous, and police advise that Maine people should not approach him under any circumstances.
Megan Hutchinson and her 10-year-old daughter Zoe were at the bowling alley. Zoe's leg grazed by a bullet.
I never thought I'd grow up and get a bullet in my leg. Why? Like, why do people do this?
What do you mean by that? It's happening at work? At work. I had to quit my job, go to a different place to try to leave it, and then it's there as well. So, what were they saying at work? And everywhere, so yeah. What do you mean by that? A lot of sense. What do you mean by that? It's happening at work? At work. I had to quit my job, go to a different place to try to leave it, and then it's there as well. So, what were they saying at work? Huh? What kind of stuff were they? Yeah, I'm a pedophile. I like little boys. I like little girls. And what kind of stuff were your friends talking about? Same exact stuff. It's the same thing. Do the people at where you work know the people that you serve with? They live in Boston. They're all somewhat close. Yeah. Areas. But do they know each other? Do they know each other? I don't know.
You know, I was lucky enough to have my mother who was going through the same thing that I was going through. They started saying all kind of crazy stuff to her jobs. And
the last person you hear talking who's a man who killed 18 people. He's Robert Card. He's talking to cops, saying what he's experiencing at work and wherever he goes. And then you follow up by this woman who says her mother, who's a target individual, so was hearing some foul things being said to her at work. You gotta understand that. I just bring that up to show that what can happen if a target individual just loses his mind and can become violent. And so they do these things knowing that this is what can happen, and some of it is just obvious that this person is going to go that way, and they still push these people to do these things. Thankfully for me, I don't have that capability, and I don't want to have that capability. I pray to God, because especially, listen, I'm not the biggest man at all, but there is the participant can come in all shape and form. This is like little weak nothing, like want to be woke. That you look at them, it's like, oh my gosh, if I lose it, I can really do things, but I don't want to. I'll look like a weak human being. But they are pushing you into insanity. They're making you have these experiences that's so disturbing that aggression can come into you. So for me, I'm lucky that I didn't get to that point, but I had to. There was prayers. I had to pray. It was like a way to meditate away this aggression that they wanted me to have. I was looking at some of them. I was like, I know what you're involved in. I know what you right now. I can do things to finish you, and I'll be done too. Immediately, I know that the second I do something harmful to you, I will get to that point, and then I'll get killed. But I'm dying either way. So what's the point? It just end things faster. It'll be like a way to just get away. But I could never imagine myself just look at myself doing some harmful things with this trash. Let them die the way they need to die. They're gonna get their death. It's going to come the way it needs to. Probably in a magical way. And when I mean magical way, it means in a way that these people who are calling themselves gods, doing all these things to us, the day it comes for them, even if it's in a bed in a hospital or wherever around their family, they have to cross over either way. And that's a lonely, crossover. So for me, it's just like God give me strength and let this trash die the way they need to die. It's not for me to take them there. They'll get there one way or another. So yeah, you have people like her who is supposed to make you think otherwise than what you just heard. Oh, the anger they have. Oh, what you did. But listen to what they're involved in. This is not exaggeration, just the testimonials of people saying what they're experiencing. And their children. And the children, their teaching experience is disgusting. So for the target individual watching this, who are being vilified by people who just, supposed to, based on looking at them, you're supposed to think of them in a positive way. No. The reason why a lot of this perps seems to be involved in themselves, it seems like the technology is just so incentivizing. My point is, when would you have the opportunity to work with technology that can do so much things to a human being remotely? When? So I can see why they would just trigger them, like create this thought project, just to try to enjoy this. And whatever rewiring they need to make themselves have, they'll do it. But they enjoy this. It's the one moment where they feel like they could be dying. They could be going through things. But in this moment, full control of a human being. Or at least participating in the full control of a human being. Where their life, is really, who knows, they can just pray for the best. And so that's why I can see somebody like that just participating. So do not identify with the facades. They will create that facade for you to accept these manipulations, to create these storylines and this presentation.